Good morning, Sanbonani, Goeiemorgen. Can we all rise for the national anthem, please? Thank you very much.
Sibonge kakhulu.
We are the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy.
Si portfolio committee yezokumbiwa phansi namandla.
From the National Assembly.
Sivela kwi parliamente elikhulu lesizwe.
On my left, far left is Honorable Phillips.
Kwesonxele sami umhlonisho Phillips.
Next to her is Honorable Malinga.
Kube umhlonisho Malinga eduze kwakhe.
Next to Honorable Malinga is Honorable Zungula.
Bese kuba umhlonisho uZungula.
Next to me on my left is Honorable Volmarans.
Kube umhlonisho Volmarans.
Next to me on my right is Honorable Jafta.
Kube umhlonisho Jafta kwesokudla sami.
Next to Honorable Jafta is Honorable Motsepe.
Kube umhlonisho Motsepe.
No relationship with Patrice Motsepe, please don't.
Akahlobene no Patrice Motsepe.
Next to Honorable Motsepe, we have got Honorable Bilankulu.
Sibe no mhlonisho uPhilankulu.
I'm Mr. Luzipo, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy.
Umnumzane Luzipo owusihlalo wale committee.
We are here because the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy
Silapha ngoba umnyango wezokumbiwa phansi namandla
has made a proposal for a new legislation
une siphakamiso for umthetho omusha okumele ushaywe.
and before we could discuss as a committee the legislation, we took a decision to first consult with the public.
Ngaphambi kokuthi ke silithamunde njengekomiti lomthetho sithathe isinqumo sokuthi asiqale sizwe ukuthi umphakathi uthini.
Then it is after we have conducted the public hearings that we will then deliberate as a committee on what are our recommendations with regards to the proposed bill.
Kusemva kokuthi sesixhumene nomphakathi kuqali ukuthi ke sizodingida njengekomiti ukuthi ikuphi esingakuncoma ukuthi kube umthetho kule mthetho sivivinywa.
So for now, we are here to listen to yourselves. What are your views?
Okwamanje ke sila ukuzolalela ukuzwa ukuthi ithini imibono yenu.
I think I should have first apologized also because we had a problem with regards to the arrangement of the meeting of this nature here.
Ngicela ukuthi ngiqale ngokuxolisa ukuthi sibe nenkinganyana ukuqala kwalomhlangano namhlanje.
The biggest problem was to find venues.
Inkinga enkulu kube yokuthola indawo ukuthi sizohlanganela kuphi.
So we apologize on that one that we only found the venue very, very late.
Sixolisa ukuthi le ndawo sayithola sesihambile kakhulu isikhathi.
But coming back to the issue of the proposed bill,
Uma sesibuya ke kule ndaba yomthetho sivivinywa,
I will just highlight what are the proposals.
ngizobalula njengamafuphi ukuthi zithini iziphakamiso ezikhona.
But like I said that we have not yet discussed the bill as a committee, I may be giving my own interpretation of those proposals.
Njoba bengeke ngasho ukuthi asikakadingidi njengekomiti lomthetho sivivinywa, ngizobe ngisho ukuthi nakho okwamanje okuyimbono ekhona etafuleni.
According to my reading, the first thing that the bill proposes is that there must be a new legislation specifically talking to petroleum.
Ezinye zezinto oyishiwo nqangi lomthetho sivivinywa ukuthi makube khona umthetho oqondile omayelana nemboni kaoyela.
Currently, we've got a legislation that combines minerals, mineral provision, and petroleum provisions.
Njengamanje sinomthetho ohlanganisa ezokumbiwa phansi kanye nemboni kaoyela yasemanzini kuhlanganisa konke kube ndawonye.
Now, they propose that when you deal with petroleum, it should not be linked to an act that deals with mineral provision.
Base bethi uma sikhuluma ngezinto eziqondisa inhlinzeko zepetroleum asihlukanise kwezithintana nezokumbiwa phansi.
The second, one of the other issues also that is being proposed is the acceleration of exploration and production of petroleum resources.
Okunye umthetho sivivinyo okuphakamisayo ukusheshiswa kokuhlolwa nokukhiqizwa kwemithombo kaoyela.
Also, it proposes that there must be state participation on the upstream level.
Kuphinde futhi kuphakamise nokuthi akungenelele uhulumeni ukusheshisa lezi lokukhiqizwa kaoyela wasolwandle.
They further propose that there must, the bill seeks to enhance the participation of those who are historically disadvantaged.
Kuno siphakamiso futhi ukuthi umthetho sivivinyo unikezwe ithuba kakhulu kulabo abebeshiwe ngaphandle kwezomnotho kakhulukazi kulemboni.
It also proposes upstream petroleum regulations, including the protection of environment.
Dithuthukisa ukungenelela kukahulumeni nobungoti bokusebenzisa ngempumelelo kodwa kubhekisiswe ukuvikelwa kwezemvelo.
It also contains definitions
Kuphinde futhi kube khona ukuchaza okucacile okubalulayo.
It also raises the issue of the state as a state custodianship on behalf of the people in the petroleum industry.
Kuphinde futhi kuvezwe igqathu lombuso ukuvezwa ukunikezwa amandla okulawula nokuphatha kanye nokuphatha noma yipi imvume yokucutshungulwa kabusha.
They also say on the bill it seeks to ensure that there is maximum participation on localization as well as skills development and skills transfer.
Ibill umthetho sivivinyo unikeza ithuba ukuthi makusebenze amakhono omphakathi nabantu abasemphakathini abangenawo amakhono bathola amakhono ngokwemboni entsha esebenza kulo mphakathi.
It also proposes that there must be authority on licensing given to PASA, but also PASA being used as the technical advisor to the minister. PASA stands for Petroleum Agency of South Africa.
Nokuthi amagunya akuphasa omele ukuthi imboni elawula imboni kaoyela ukuthi izophathwa kanjani noma izosebenza kanjani ukuya phambili.
Amongst also other proposal is the issue of a state-owned petroleum company.
Okunye okuphakanyiswayo inkampani ehlinzeka uoyela engekahulumeni eownwa noma uhulumeni ongumnikazi kuyo.
It also proposes a technical committee that is constituted by people with skills, special skills in the petroleum industry
Bese kuba
as advisors to the minister.
bese kuba nekomiti kufanele lakhiwe lamakhono noma lochwepheshe abanobuchule abazi kabanzi ngemboni wokuhluzwa kaoyela ukuthi babe ngabaluleki bakangqongqoshe noma umphathiswa.
It also proposes a 10% provision of free carry for black-owned companies.
Iphinde futhi ihlinzeka ukubamba iqhaza kwamaphesenti ayishumi kwabantu abamnyama kumalungelo kaoyela ngokwembandela yezohwebo.
There are many other proposals. I was just saying when we go through this, I'm just recapping some. There are many other proposals which include also the turnaround time on exploration license applications.
Ziningi iphakamiso eyishiwo ngibambe nje lapha nalapha yangamafishane ezike zizi iphakamiso ikhuluma ukuthi ama license noma imvume zokuhweba ngooyela kanye nesikhathi esizobekwa ukuthi konke lento lomsebenzi wenziwe uqedwe ngasiphi isikhathi.
Like I said, then we are here to listen to you. We are not coming for a meeting. We are coming to listen to you. We will record what you say. It will inform discussions in the portfolio committee according to what we received in the public hearing.
Njoba ngishile ekuqaleni azizile emhlanganweni azizile ukuzokhuluma nokuzobonisana size ukuzolalela nina qobo konke nizokusho sizoqopha phansi bese siyokucubungula sikhulume ngakho njengekomiti leParliament.
Otherwise there will be no reason why we should come and listen to you when we have already made up our minds, having discussed the matter, having discussed the proposal and agreed on them what has to be done. The first thing is to listen, then to discuss as a committee, being informed by your own submissions.
Ngamanye amazwi besingeke sibe khona isidingo sokuthi size la uma sesikhulumile saqeda savumelana kodwa sizela ngani ngoba sikakaqali sifuna ukuzwa nina kuqala ukuthi nithini imbono yenu bese siyayithatha siyocubungula lokhu okuvela kini.
So feel free to tell us what you think.
Sicela nikhuleke ukuthi nisitshele ukuthi nicabangani ngalomthetho sivivinywa.
You have a right to reject the proposals. Equally, you have a right to accept the proposal.
Ninelungelo ukuthi niuchithe lomthetho sivivinyo nakanjalo ninelungelo futhi lokwamukela noma lokweseka lomthetho sivivinyo.
But we will appreciate if you can give us reasons why you have that view, you hold that view.
Siyokuthokozela kakhulu ukuthi sizwe izathu ukuthi yini uthi uyawuchitha lomthetho sivivinyo noma ukuthi uyawuvuma lomthetho sivivinyo isiphi izathu sombono wakho.
Or to tell us what you would want to see contained on the proposed legislation.
Noma usitshela ukuthi ufisa ukuthi kube khonani yini kufanele kabe ishicilelwe kulomthetho sivivinywa na.
The last thing on this act, please don't ask us questions. As I said, we have not discussed the bill. If you ask a question, if I give you an answer, it will be my personal view, not a view of the committee.
Ngicela ukubalula futhi nalokho ukuthi sicela ningabuzi imibuzo ngalomthetho sivivinywa. Ngani ngoba uma ungibuza ngizobe ngiphendula umbono wami nje ngedwa asikakayidingidi lomthetho sivivinywa. So asithatha imibuzo sithatha imibono okwamanje.
Like I said, these are proposals from the department,
Njengoba
not from the portfolio committee.
Njengoba ngishilo ukuthi lezi yisiphakamiso ezivela kumnyango kahulumeni wezokumbiwa namandla akusiyona iziphakamiso ezivela ekommitini ikomiti alikaqala ukusebenza.
Futhi singathanda ukuthi nisho nani ukuthi uma uzotolika ngeEnglish yeke manje yabona siyahlupha isiZulu ngoba ujwayele ukukhuluma sona. Kuzosiza ukuthi uma nisitshele nangokuthi umnyango nibona ukuthi ngesinye isikhathi kufanele wenze kanjani. Nasi isizathu esidala ukuthi ngisho kanjani. Endaweni eziningi esiya kuzona sithola ukuthi abantu bakhala ukuthi siyaqala thina ukuyibona lento enisiphathele yona. Awukazi ufika umnyango uzosho ukuthi ucabanga ukubeka iziphakamiso ezifana nalezi ngaphambi kokuthi uzoletha kuthini.
It will also help in the submission of views that you also submit how you would like department to go about in delivering these proposed bills and laws. Because in many places where we go to, people tell us the department has not engaged us on this before.
But if anishongo njalo ngeke sikubhale phansi ngoba fanele sibhale nikushilo. Uma ningakusho yona lento ke lokho ngikubeka ngaphambili ukwenzela ngiyanichatha ukwenzela ukuthi uma nifuna ukusho nikusho nikhululeke ngoba uba nikushilo sizokwazi ukuthi sikubhale phansi ukuthi ezinye zezinto ezihlangabezane nazo yilesi sikhalo esifana nalesi ukuthi uma kunemithetho ephakanyiswayo abantu bakithi akuqala kuyoviwa izimvo zabo ukwenzela ukuthi usaqala ukwakhiwa lo mthetho ngaphambi kokuthi uthunyelwe eParliament ubumnyango usunazo izimvo zabantu bakithi ukuthi bathini bona.
I'm giving you that guide as a brief that you need to vocalize such concerns, that you are not advised or engaged by the department in advance before you are called in this meeting. I'm giving you that info so that I influence the direction, because if you do not say that, it's not recorded. We only record what is said.
Lastly, you are the first in KZN, but you are the third province who are already coming from Western Cape, Eastern Cape. You are lucky that we are lucky that of all the areas in KZN, we chose to come here amongst others that will be visiting.
Nebe nenhlanhla ukuthi kulolu chungechunge lama kulokukhuluma nomphakathi nebe ngabokuqala kulesifundazwe saKwaZulu Natal sesibuye Western Cape sadlulela eEastern Cape khani siqala ungena kwaZulu Natal sivele sakhetha ukuqala ngani singakababona abanye.
Please speak to this bill in such a manner that you represent even those who never had an opportunity to be visited by the portfolio committee.
Siyocela ukuthi nikhulumeke nalomthetho sivivinyo nize nimele nalabo bangalitholanga ithuba ukuthi badibane neportfolio committee ukuthi bazwakalise izimvo zabo.
Lastly, we will explain for those, because all committees of parliament, they work according to the rules of the National Assembly. They've got a starting time, they've got a finishing time.
Sizochaza ukuthi ke sonke njengoba sisebenza ngokulawulwa isikhathi seParliament kunesikhathi sokuqala kunesikhathi sokuqeda futhi.
So take it as if you are invited by the portfolio committee in Cape Town, but it chose to come to you instead of inviting you at a cost to come to Cape Town.
Zithathe ngathi kubenyiwe yiParliament ukuthi uze le Parliament eKapa uzokhuluma nePortfolio Committee kodwa ke sikhethe ukuthi sinciphise indleko ningezi le Kapa kube yithi esiza kini ngqo.
So we beg you to use this opportunity to your maximum.
Siyanicela ukuthi leli thuba ke nilitholile nilisebenzise ngamandla enu onke.
The last two things before we take hands is that one, you are free to speak in a language of your own choice.
Izinto ezimbili zogcina ngaphambi ukuthi sinikeze ithuba okokuqala ukuthi uvumelekile ukuthi ukhulume ngolimi lwakho olukhethayo.
Because you are talking to us, if you use any other language beside English, we will get an interpreter. But unfortunately, I know that you are in KZN, you are free to speak your own Zulu.
Ngamanye amazwi uma ukhuluma nathi sikunikeza ithuba la uma ukhuluma noma yiluphi olunye ulimi ngaphandle kwesingisi kunotolika abazotolika kodwa uma ukhuluma ngesingisi ngeke kutolike kodwa ngoba siKwaZulu Natal la ukhululekile ukukhuluma olukaMageba.
So you will be talking to us.
Nizobe nikhuluma nathi.
You will be addressing us.
Uzobe ukhuluma nathi ngqo.
You will be expressing your views to us.
Uzobe usho imbono yakho kithi.
So we are not here to say I agree with the speaker before me or I disagree. We want your views.
Manje asikho isidingo sokuthi uma usunikezwe imic ukuthi ngivumelana nalokhulumile noma ngiphikisana nalokhulumile cha sizela ukuzoza ukuthi uthini umbono wakho wena uwedwa.
Then when we take hands, there are chairs that are sitting facing up. Those chairs, we will count the numbers. When we count the numbers, you will see that each side has got 5 chairs. It means the first 5 will be this side. The second 5 will be, it means we will take almost 10 hands, a maximum of 10 hands for the first round.
Sezonikeza kithuba lokuphakamisa ukuthi nizosho imbono sizothatha izandla eziyishumi enizoyiphakamisa abahlanu bokuqala bazoba ngapha kulezinye ihlale ibheke phansi izophakanyiswa abahlanu abanye futhi besibili babe ngala zothatha abantu abayishumi ngokwesikhathi.
So we'll request, please, let's also be fair to those who would want to speak after you.
Siyocela ukuthi sinikeze ithuba sibe nomusa nakulabo basazokhuluma emva kwakho kusho ukuthi ungageqa amagula ngathi uyemuka.
It's also hot here and most people they sit and address us and then leave.
Kuyashisa la uthola ukuthi umuntu akakhulumela undendende athi meseqedile ukukhuluma undendende asuka aphuma ahambe yena ushawa umoya ngaphandle sisale thina sishi.
So please, let's be fair to each other. So if I stop you, it's because there is also other people who want to make a contribution on the bill.
Sibe nomusa ke sinakekelane uma sengikumisa ima sesikuzwile sinikeza abanye ithuba nabo bazwakala.
Please, let's stick to the bill.
Sicela sikhulume ngomthetho sivivinywa lo osesandleni.
Because anything you say, we can't write it on the bill if it's not about the bill.
Yonke enye into ozoyisho engemayelana nomthetho asikwazi ukuyibhala ngani ngoba sizela ukuzozwa izimvo ngalomthetho sivivinywa osesandleni.
For instance, in other places we go, people tell us, I've submitted my application for an ID. Unfortunately, we are not the portfolio committee on home affairs.
Siye kwezinye indawo unikeza umuntu ithuba athi hayi ngafaka isicelo sami ukuthola umazisi lapha namanje asazi lutho ngomazisi ngani ngoba asilona ikomiti lika ndaba zabantu la home affairs siyikomiti leli lozombiwa namandla.
Others will tell us about title deed. Unfortunately, if you are not talking to the bill and we go to other provinces and other areas, they talk to the bill. It means we will carry what is said by those other provinces or other areas on the bill, because we can't say if the bill says you must have a state-owned petroleum company, We can't then write instead of, yes, they agree on a state-owned petroleum company. We can't write that, no, they want a title deed, not a state-owned petroleum company.
Uma ukuthi la anikhulumi ngebill ngomthetho sivivinyo nikhuluma indaba zamatayitela ukuthi nifuna amatayitela kusho ukuthi ayikho into ezizobuyela nayo eParliament nganoba amatayitela awakhulumi ngalo mthetho sivivinyo lo njengokuthi umthetho sivivinyo uthi uhulumeni ufanele ube nenkampani yakhe yeka petroleum. So uma besho njalo kwezinye izifundazwe so hamba nalokho okushiwo abanye kwezinye izifundazwe singasho lutho ngani.
We appeal then, we will explain how to handle some of those issues when we are done. But also we are saying this process so that we don't close out people who want to speak to the bill and then time comes in, that person will not have been able to address us on the bill.
Ez okunye nokunye sicacisa uma sesiqedile ukuthi ningayaphi ukuthola usizo kodwa bengithi sicacisa ukuthi sifuna umuntu okhuluma ngani ukuze singavaleli abantu abafuna ukukhuluma ngalomthetho sivivinyo sivinjwa abantu abakhuluma okunye okuseceleni okuhlukile.
Now can we then take hands of people who want to express their views on the contents of the bill?
Ngicela ukuthi sithathe izandla zabantu abafisa ukuzwakalisa imbono yabo kulomthetho sivivinywa lo.
Okay, number one. You must help me. Number two, keep your number. Number two.
Ubamba ukuthi khonje
Number three.
waba unumber bani.
Number four, white shirt. Yeah, number four. Number five. Number five, this side, yes. Number six. Any other hand? Oh, number seven. You are seven, just count number seven. Number eight. Is there any other hand? Okay. The last thing I must say then is that in the event the bill is rejected, it means the existing law will remain in place.
Ngicela ukuqaqisa lo uma umthetho sivivinywa lo okhona niuchitha lokho kusho ukuthi umthetho okhona njengamanje uzohlala ungaguquliwe.
It means the MPRDA will remain the law, not the new legislation.
Kusho ukuthi lo MPRDA okhona uzoba umthetho hayi umthetho omusha lo esifuna ukuphasisa noma ukushaya.
I think it's number 2, but it's sitting there. You are supposed to go number 2 there.
Uma number 2 sondela lapha uyothatha isihlalo.
Just rearrange them. No, ubaba lo enekepusi is number 3. You are number 2. Just move them backward until you come forward.
Sithi ukuhlehlela ngasemuva.
Yeah, if you go backward, you'll end up coming forward. Okay, now it's fine. We've got only 8 hands. Please give us your name and surname. Others, they even go beyond, tell us where the companies, the ward and everything. That one is free. We are only interested in your name and surname so that we can record who said what. We record you correctly.
Umusukuma sicela usho Gamalakhe nesibongo ukuze sizoshicilela ukuthi usibanibani okwasibanibani wathi abanye bazibasho ke inkampani abasuka kuzo nenhlangano asikho lapho kakhulu sifuna ukwazi ukuthi wena ngubani ungokwabani ithini imbono yakho usungeza
Ngiyabulela kakhulu igama lami nje nguThobeka Mkhize.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Thobeka Mkhize.
Oh, okay. Okay, okokuqala
Firstly,
kulento ye issue ye black people abafumana 10%, I think incinci kakhulu, so sicela unyuke at least 20%.
I would suggest that we increase the 10% allocation for black people to at least 20%.
I-bill xa ndithi go through yona andibonanga into specifically talking to women ba abafazi bazobenefita kanjani.
I
So-
also didn't see women beneficiation on the bill.
Siyacela uba i-bill ipromote i-participation yabafazi.
We
That's
th- we
point
therefore
number two.
request that the bill promotes the participation of women.
I-bill funeka ibe clear, clarify issues of i-community. Uba i-community izobenefita kanjani, apho kuzobe kusenziwa khona le exploration ye-gas and oil.
The bill should also be clear on community beneficiation where this gas mining will take place.
Siyacela ku-bill sifakwe okay, ifakwe into yoba abantu abamnyama iwesi abancinci bakwazi uzofundiswa ngezi-skills, bakwazi ukungena kule mboni ye-oil ne-gas. Because in most cases, iyafana sizovuma into apha, kubenefite eza companies vele zine-license, thina singakwazi ukungena. So before sithethe anything, siyacela kwi-bill.
The bill should also talk to skills transfer, particularly to our young people, because many times it's only those companies that benefit only.
Okay, ndiyabulela okwangoku.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, honourable members, for this opportunity to talk to you. I'd like to start off with something silly. If you look at page 53, section 20, the line is totally wrong. And it is very worrying to a member of the public when there is something in a bill that is so blatantly wrong. It actually says, the following long title is hereby substituted for the long title of the Principal Act. Preamble. I am quite sure that's wrong. I think this act, this bill, needs to be looked at very carefully. That's an easy one to spot. But I would suggest you send it back to the person who drafted it and said, just tell them to do their homework, please. More seriously, nowhere did I see reference to international agreements. And there are a great many which have a direct bearing on this bill. For example, the Convention on Migratory Species has a major impact on what we can do in our oceans without a conflict. I believe this bill needs to look at all these environmental agreements and make sure that it won't be in conflict, because our reputation as a people and as a country depends on us being responsible citizens of the world. And talking about conflicts, I am very concerned because historically we have seen major conflicts of interest within PRASA, that they are trying to promote mining and exploration, while at the same time trying to look at the environmental impacts which might stop it. And I believe it would be in the best interests of Parliament and of the country to separate those two portfolios and say that PRASA should no longer be responsible for doing environmental impact assessments. That conflict of interest has led to a lot of challenges in the courts, and we need to avoid that. Indeed, I would even go further and say, perhaps if this bill is to make a really major step forward for our country, it should finally take away from the minister the responsibility for environmental authorization, because once again there is a conflict of interest. And I would appeal to you to look at that very carefully. I would also have to question whether it is a good idea to set up another state-owned enterprise. When we look at the ones we've currently got, well, say no more. And I thought we already had a petroleum stockpile, and presumably then somebody is managing it. Do we need another organisation? Or would it be better to take that one and maybe empower it and enable it to do the job, rather than creating yet another body, which can only slow things down and make life more expensive? Finally, I would like to ask you to consider very carefully the issue of climate change. We have international agreements. We have an incredible amount of scientific opinion which says that climate change is already killing people, and greenhouse gases are a significant contributor to that change. In fact, I would go so far as to say there is a principle in this country that the polluter pays, which means if you are going to allow oil industry to produce more and more fossil fuels, you also need to write into this bill some mechanism for compensating the victims. And I did a quick sum in my head, and at the rate people have died so far with climate change, we could be looking at a bill in excess of R1 trillion a year. That's not manageable. And certainly it shouldn't come from Parliament and the taxpayer. So I would ask you to look at that very carefully, and even look at the possibility that this Act needs to be looked at in the context of, are we allowed to pass legislation which might lead to the death of our citizens? That's a serious allegation, I know, and I'm not pointing the finger at anyone. But we need to start thinking very carefully about how climate change is going to affect our population and whether the oil industry is contributing to it. And I ask you to look at that very, very carefully. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Before you sit down, before you sit down, tell us what's your view. Do you support the bill or do you reject the bill? I'm coming to Usis.
Uyawusekela noma uyawuchitha umthethosivivinywa na?
A simple answer is I would not support it in its current form, although I believe there is a need for the legislation. And I think I forgot to tell you that my name is Paddy Norman and I represent the Wildlife Society of South Africa.
Okay, this one. Just to confirm whether he supports the bill or not, that's all.
Ufakazela ukuthi uyawuchitha noma uyawuvuma umthethosivivinywa usho negama nesibongo.
Okay, mna Thobeka Mkhize, ndiyawuvuma umthetho.
Thobeka Mkhize, I support the bill.
Ngicela ukubuza one thing, abanye abantu abangekhoyo apha bangakhange bakwazi uzo. Okay, thank you.
Mangibingelele sihlalo komiti babo Luzipo nabahlonishwa bonke lapho ngaphambili.
Start by greeting my honorable guest, seated at the front, specifically the chairperson.
Igama uDr. wakanjogo.
My name
Hayi ngokweziqu yiligama nje.
My name is Dr. Ndiogo, not by profession, but it's a simple name.
Mangiqale nje la ngokubonga ukuthi njengabahlali basogwini ukuthola leli thuba elingqayizivele ukuthi ikomiti leParliament lifike kuthina nathi sikwazi ukuthi sibe novo sibe kuvo lwethu kumthetho sisekelo.
I'll start by thanking the opportunity afforded to us as citizens residing near the coast, that you are afforded an opportunity to have a say in this particular bill proposed by the Portfolio Committee.
Ngineqiniso ukuthi lo mthetho sisekelo ohlongozwayo uyoba umthelela omude kabi noma sesingasekho thina kodwa uyokwazi ukuthi ube nemthelela kwabazayo emveni kwethu. Ingakho ngicabanga ukuthi kubalekile ukuthi esizokuveza lana kufanele ukuthi sikubheke ukuthi nasibhekile into yamanje ukuthi sibheke into kusukela manje kuya nasesikhathini esizayo. Ngifisa ukuthi ke nje
It is my belief that this bill will have far-reaching consequences in the near future. It even has potential of affecting those who are going to become after we've done our part. So I wish to add on this meeting here today the following.
sengiyangqo kuwona umthetho sisekelo sihlalo ngazi ngithatha isikhathi sakho kunale clause seke wathinta abanye ngaphambili kuyona engibukela ukuthi nithi uclose 31
If I will
lo
If I will just go straight to the bill itself, Chairperson, there is a clause that you spoke about, that being clause number 3.1, I'd like to believe.
la uhlongozwa khona ukuthi abebala elinsundu bazoba u10% bona ukubamba kwabeqhaza. Ngifisa nje ukuthi ngibeke iproposal engizothi mina ifirm izohluka kancane kwadadewethu oba unumber 1 ekhulumeni lana. Ngibuka ngoba seyivele ikhona eminye imithetho kuhulumeni ebhekelela ukuthi nabantu abamnyama okuyibona abaningi lana ezweni lethu eSouth Africa.
That particular clause, Chairperson, I believe, it states the fact that black people are going to be given at least 10% share to that particular bill. So I want to strengthen my conversation to say that as black people have been afforded an opportunity before as the majority, quite peculiar chances in terms of contribution to previous bills that have been made.
Ngifisa ukuthi ngibeke ngaphambili ukuthi hayi ongenana kube u30%. Ngikuthathela kuphi lo 30% ukuthi imhlali ngaphambili seyikhona eminye imithetho ebekiwe yo set aside ukubhekelela abantu abamnyama ngoba basele emuva mase kuya ngasemnothweni. Nale bill nabi sizoqhamuka ukuthi sikhuluma ukuthi ubhekelela kwabantu abamnyama emnothweni kuba u10% kuphela. Ngibona ukuthi sangathi sobe sithatha igxathile emuva nokuthi siye phambili. Kanti abantu abamnyama ngibona abaningi lana.
My recommendation, Chairperson, will be that the 30% proposed as per what the black majority should receive is a bit a step back, Chairperson. I would like to at least propose that 30% would be an amount that will be adequate enough to be proposed, and that as black people who have been marginalized before, as we understand it, that to be, however, 10% will be taking us a step back as opposed to giving us what should be taking us forward.
Ngibonge okunyeke ngibonga nje ukuthi iParliament selihlalela kubona kufanelekile ukuthi lo mthetho kubhekelela kwepetroleum negas usuke uhlukaniswe nomthetho ngoba bewenza ukuthi kube nzima kakhulu nje ikakhulukazi kumuntu omnyama ukuthi afinyelele ekutheni kuzimbiwa abambe iqhaza. Ngicabanga ukuthi lokho kuzosiza ngoba ipetroleum no gas izinto ezithinta kakhulu sonke nathi esimpishole simpofu. Ngiyabonga kakhulu njengoba bese ngizichazile ngisuka kwi-Men's Forum yase Renkonyeni ngosihlalo wakhona. Ngiyabonga.
I will take the opportunity, Chairperson, to thank the Portfolio Committee for coming to us and then explaining to us that there's going to be a separation in terms of the petroleum and gas from the department where petroleum and gas was under minerals and resources. We think that because we think it's going to have a meaningful contribution towards our black people achieving what they should be achieving. As I've already mentioned before, my name, I'm coming from the Men's Forum in this community representing Men's Forum. Thank you.
Ngalo ngithi ngiyawusupport umthetho sisekelo mozoba nezinguquko lezi siziphakamisayo.
I would also like to add that I do support the bill as I believe that it's going to have positive consequences in the future.
Okay, mfundisi. Mangibilise indlu yowelisomthetho kazwelonke.
I'll start by greeting the portfolio committee in front of us from National Parliament.
Honorable members nencedisana nabo ngiyabingelela indlu yonke all protocol observed.
Bahlonishwa ke niphelele ninoke ngaphakathi endlini. All protocol observed with everyone included.
Igama ngu Ayanda isibongo ngwakavanda.
My name-
Ngiku-Youth Development Forum la kule wadi esikuyona.
My name is Ayanda. My surname, can you come again?
Vanda.
Vanda.
Asiqale sisho ukuthi siyawamkela umthetho owathi ukuzanywa ukushicilela. Mhlali ngaphambili ze ndikwazi ukuqala inkulumo yami o intetho yami mandiyiqalise ngokuthi asibheke lapha ekunyusweni kwephesenti ngoba silibona iphesenti lilincane kakhulu.
Let me start by saying, Chairperson, that I do accept or recommend that the bill move forward, but I'm going to also recommend that you start by looking at the percentage because I believe that the percentage is not enough.
Useshilo kwathiwa kuno set aside ababekeliwe abantu abamnyama ngakho besocela kunyuke kuyobekwa ku 30%. Ngaleyo ndlela bazokwazi ke nendlu emnyama iparticipate ngendlela ekuyona.
We've already been informed that there is a 10% quota that has been set aside for the black majority. However, we believe that a 30% quota will be a meaningful contribution for black people to be able to participate in the economy as well.
Sibantu abasha nathi singacela ukuthi kulo 30% esuhlongozayo maybe ke lo 10% usungaba ke owabantu abasha directly nje bengamixwe nalutho.
My second proposal will be that I would propose that the 30% quota that you are asking from the portfolio committee before us be allocated to the black majority. However, the 10% quota, we will ask that it is only set aside specifically for the youth.
Sidlula ekuceleleni abantu abasha I see ilento ibill yethu ikhuluma ngokuthi abantu bazofandwa banikwe ama license banikwe futhi balekele babheke ukuthi are they making their books according to the right financial standard according to OGAP and all other related financial acts.
I've also noted, Chairperson, that the bill speaks to the licensing that is to be awarded specifically to the black majority previously marginalized. However, the youth themselves, Chairperson, I wish that they be allocated. Pardon me, Chairperson. I wish that the youth be allocated the 10% quota, and I also wish to emphasize on the issue of employment.
Ngibonge mhlali ngaphambili noma usuzedela. The finance management engikhuluma ngayo ngikhuluma ngokuthi abantu abendlu emnyama bona bazolungiselelwa kanjani ukuthi sengimile nguAyanda nje banginalo uthando akusina sonke esikwazi ukubhekelela indlela zokubalwa kwezimali in terms of accounting. Ngabe ke indlu emnyama izolungiselelwa kanjani ekwenzeni ukuthi kuloko uma behlomula ababe bekwazi ukwenza ukwabiwa kwezimali noma the accounting standards accordingly. Also siyobheka ukuthi uma kuyo explore kuleyo ndawo ngabe umphakathi waleyo ndawo uma umphakathi ontulayo ongazile ngabanzi ngaleyo nto ngabe wona uzokwaziswa kanjani ukuthi amapha ama benefits angaba khona for labo bantu abakhele leyo ndawo ekuzombiwa kuyona.
My first concern, Honorable Chairperson, will be that the youth, in terms of skills, financial skills, accounting skills, they are not in par. So how is the portfolio committee going to ensure that our youth are equipped in terms of being able to understand what is required of them to be able to participate and make a meaningful contribution towards this proposed bill? And secondly, Chairperson, it will be that the communities themselves, those who are not versed with the information in terms of understanding as to what contribution they should be making, how is the portfolio committee is going to ensure that those people are given adequate information and be made to understand fully what is required from them?
Siya kwi-state-owned entity, as the bill proposed ukuthi indlu yoweliso-mthetho okanye uSouth Africa ibe neyayo eyi-ownayo, sizwa sinokuthuthumela noma sinokusaba masoya lapho ngoba kumanje zikhona ezi-ownwa i-state or SAA, Eskom, you can count all of them and they are not in good standard. So how can a government open a new entity while the ones who are currently enrolled are not performing accordingly and there is too much corruption found there? How is the government going to minimize that when opening that state-owned entity?
My other concern, Honorable Chairperson, is that the addition of the state entity, the addition of the new state entity, how is this going to contribute further? As we all know that there are issues going on there with entities that belong to the states. Now, if the state is becoming a custodian of this new entity, how is that going to help or assist our society? As we know, the level of corruption, the level of money mismanagement in the leadership, and also the fact that it's not a hidden fact that state entities has not been doing well in this country for quite a long time. So how is this going to assist in terms of adding this particular state entity on top of the issues that we've already mentioned?
We are also going to view the issue of climate change. The climate change has been one of the most issues akhona in the whole world. The clause or the bill ngiyithole ingakuveza ukuthi in terms of the climate change and all the contributing factors, how is the government going to manage itself? Lastly, the participants on the economy. We have 4 participants that we have in the economy, which is the household, which speaks as I as an individual, the business or the firm sectors, the government and the foreign sectors. We only had ukuluma about the business firms as participants of the economy and the government. Asikuzwange khuluma ukuthi as sizok explore noma sik extract lokho extractor, how is it going to contribute in terms of foreign economy yethu nokuthi thina bangaphandle lento mas izohanjiswa because singakuthola upetrol la, if we are going to mine it and explore it and still keep it with us, will make no economic growth. So, and also, all the participants of the economy, are they contributing accordingly or are they given equal chance? Because now it seems as if it will also go back to those participants, or in those participants are big firms which already have imali and all other things. So, and also all these participants must be well they must be well represented. So siyacela ukuthi kubhekwe climate change and also the participants in the economic growth. Enkosi mhlali ngaphambili.
I am concerned when it comes to climate change.
Ngiyabonga mhlali ngaphambili, igama lami ngoDimba Nkosi. Ngiyayisupporta ibill njengoba iyona. Kodwa ke ngiyisupporta ngenjalo. Ngithanda ukuphoxeka kakhulu ngoba ngithe ngena lana benginama expectations aphezulu ngoba ngazi ukuthi uhulumeni wethu lona okhethwa yithina and umele thina manje ngibona amaKatolikwa engathi kukhona kufuneka bezwe kodwa khona ngafanele bezwe manje angazi ukuthi kahle kahle uhulumeni wethu kanti obani oba representa ngoba sibaningi la endlini manje kubhekelelwa abantu abawu5 I don't understand it ake silungisa ithina siphethe la South Africa abantu abamnyama baphethe la and we must not be apologetic about that asikwazi kuloko sincetheza ngeke bafowethu ngeke nawo lamabhili esithi siyawaphasisa ngeke azaphasa phela maseloku sincetheza we must pull the bull by its horns asingaloko sincenga ngeke
Honorable Chairperson, I'll greet you with honorable respect.
uyabona nje manje uyatolika manje utolikile abanye abantu ukuthi bezwe kodwa isikhathi ukukhuluma belungu bekungafanele abantu bakithi bezwe which is so unfortunate
Sicela baba ukucacisela umphakathi nawo ukuthi esikwenzayo sikwenze ngoba sinikezwe umyalelo ubaba ozihlalo ngaphambili asikwenzi ngokuthanda kwethu.
okay
Yebo baba.
Sorry,
okay tolika
sorry, Chief. As a portfolio committee coming to the public, it is important for us to understand each other, to get the message clear, for us to go and deliberate. So the chairperson has already indicated that all languages are important and we value their importance. So we would not want to get into the debate about the languages. We are more interested in the matter that you would be proposing to us. And if that offends some of us, please bear with us so that we can just get your submissions so that when we go to other places, you are not disadvantaged by virtue of not having made your own submissions. That's my plea.
Okay.
Isicelo sethu sicela ukuzwa izethulo zakho. Singangeni leyo kuphikisana ngezilimi.
Okay.
Ushilo usihlalo wathi zonke ilimi ziyalingana, zonke ilimi zisemthethweni. So ngena kwinqekithi yokuthi ithini imbono yakho ngolimi lwakho oluthandayo siqhubeke siniphambili.
Okay, hayi ngiyabonga. Ngibhalanga lutho wephansi ngoba ngiyazazi izinto engizokhuluma
I
ngazo.
didn't write anything, but because I know exactly what I'm going to submit.
Sihlalo ngiyayizwa lele upstream. Kodwa ke mina okwami kakhulukazi ukuba benginayo isay bengafisa ukuthi the whole Petroleum Act ukuthi iParliament lethu like livakashele because
I hear this one of the upstream chair, but my submission is that the entire Petroleum Act that our government should revisit.
yes ngoba seloku yagcina ukamendwa ngo2002
Because the last time it was amended, it was way back in 2002.
and ngendlela emingayo ayibamelele abantu abakithi abamnyama abasafufusa kulezi zepetroleum.
The way it is structured, our upcoming and emerging people, especially people of color, are not covered in this industry of petroleum.
Njengamanje mawuthi uyabuka manibuka njena even in terms of percentage abantu bakithi kubukhuni kakhulu ukungena kuyona lemboni kapetrol asebengenile bathi sebenawo ama license kodwa ukususa unyawo lokuqala is very difficult kuvale laba bangale ngaphesheya bavale ngqi.
The access into this petroleum industry for black people is humongous, a huge challenge. Even those that gain entry a little bit, they encounter a whole lot of red tape. They only get the license and they can't move forward.
That's why I would like to propose that maybe uma ngabe isiphasile le upstream ake sivakashele ne downstream because abantu bakithi kakhulukazi laba abangenalutho njengathi baba la bezobhenefitha kakhulu ila kwi downstream la kwi upstream kukhulunywa ngama billions manje thina sikabi nawo kushona nama thousands la kwi upstream imali ezinkulu ngempela edingeka khona kanti thina besadinga ucathula la kwi downstream umuntu uyayisupporta le upstream ukuthi ayibe khona le nkampani kahulumeni.
My submission therefore is that we support and second this upstream intervention for government and also the state-owned petroleum company. We also support that, but we're talking the level of billions when you're talking upstream. I want us to also pay attention to the downstream because some of us don't have those billions. We don't even have thousands, but when we look at the upstream, downstream, that's where the largest opportunity that will be open to the masses like us would gain a chance and an opportunity into the industry.
Ake ngenze isibonelo nje. Uma ngabe ufuna ukungena la kwi-industry, kudingeka ukhulume no-engine, noma ukhulume no-BP, noma ukhulume no-Total, noma ukhulume no-Shell. Zonke lezi nkampani akusizona ezala eSouth Africa zonke.
If I make a classical example, for one to gain interest and access into this industry, you must talk to Total, talk to Engine, talk to people, talk to BP, talk to Shell. All those companies are foreign-owned or companies. They are not South African.
Mhlamba amalungu epetrol committee awakwazi lokho. Bonke labantu aba-own ama-filling stations. Lento lena njengoba be-own ama-filling stations, it's not like ukuthi bayawa-own lento ye-franchise. Labantu the real owners, or BP no Shell, laba bantu bafana nama-managers, they don't survive because imali abayitholayo enkulu bayikhokhela inkampani enkulu. So exploitation ongayazi.
I'm not sure whether the portfolio committee is fully aware what's happening with the fuel retail industry. Our people who are owning service stations, those people are not benefiting from those franchises, but they're not even the owners, they are simply managers. The real owners of that industry are the BPs, the Totals, and the engines of this world, and they take the lion's share.
I give an example. There's one baba, kuno baba olenga ngasesimangaliso kwigate yasesimangaliso. U-applyele i-license ye-retail.
One example, there is an old man by Ismangaliso Gate, I think in Kanyagote area. He has applied for a fuel retail license.
Umuntu omphikisile ukuthi athole i-license, umuntu osehluhluwe. That's about 100 kilometers. Umlungu owna i-garage la Shell, uyena wa dispute.
And some white man owning a Shell garage in Hluhluwe, 100 kilometers from Smangaliso Gate, has objected, and that objection was sustained.
And lesi inkampani ezinkulu, for your information, zinabantu abameli abahlalela ukubheka ukuthi obani aba-applyela ama-licenses e-retail. Labameli bahlalela ukuthi ba-dispute each and every license e-applyelwayo, especially uma kuwumuntu omnyama. And before uthole i-license, kufanele uqale uthole ummeli. And uzomthatha ummeli because even kwayona imali lena uyitshelekile. So you must pay a lawyer first. These are the sufferings eyitholwa abantu abamnyama.
These fuel giants have got legal representation. That are receiving that are checking on all the fuel license applications. And when they see that it's a black person applying, they reject and they defend that decision. So for you to really get a fuel retail license, you must borrow the money from the bank and find a lawyer. Where do you get the money to pay for lawyers, even this capital is borrowed?
That's why ngithi mhlambe i-portfolio committee yami ayike ivakashele nayo le downstream ngoba abantu bakithi ngempela bayahlupheka. Fortunately mina lento ye-Petroleum Act ngisho ungangivusa ngo-12 ebusuku ngiyazi yonke ngize ngiphume ngale.
That's why I'm asking our portfolio committee to kindly revisit this, particularly on the downstream. Because I, for one, the Petroleum Act, I know it back and forth. You can wake me up at midnight, I will tell you straight away.
Ngiyabonga baba kuze kuthiwe sengidle isikhathi esiningi. Engigcine nje baba. Siyocela ngelinye ilanga nawo umthetho sivivinyo lona ukuze suwazi kahle ngene sibhalele nangolimi lakithi baba ngiyayicelela ngifuna ukubaphophula nathi njena sike sibabone because sebebhalwe nje ungoba
I request
ngolimi lakithi baba.
I request that Chair, next time you come, the proposed bill should also be in our vernac. Shall we have that, please, next time you come?
Ngiyabonga baba ngiyawusupport umthetho.
Thank you so much. I support the bill.
Hi, my name is Chinera Reddy. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to raise my views. The following are points as to why I reject the bill. The bill is a replication of the Mineral and Petroleum Resource Development Act. The bill is political in nature and needs to be more aligned with the overwhelming evidence we have from climate scientists. Parliament has failed to provide enough time and resources to determine the implicated rights, for example, land rights and access to land. The bill is silent on access to information, which is crucial. The bill proposed multiple economic risks with no contingency plan. The bill does not consider important stakeholders such as subsistence fishers, small-scale fishers, and traditional healers. The bill gives exclusive power to the Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy. The bill does not state where the petroleum products will be used or supplied to. Coastal and offshore operations are poorly regulated and will impact on coastal communities and oceanic ecosystems with spills, leaks, and dumping waste at sea. The bill does not have a clear plan with dealing with pollution such as the oil spills. The bill will encourage both foreign investment and local participation in the oil and gas industry. The bill should mandate a process for closure of fossil fuel industries and a socially and environmentally just transition to renewable energy. Thank you.
You did not give us your name.
It's Janera Reddy.
Is that okay? Is that all right? Thanks. Let me translate. So wait. Good morning.
Order. Can we just give the speaker on the floor a chance to relate her submission?
Acela simnikeze ithuba osempubheni ukuthi naye azwakalise imbono yakhe.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity and for such a professionally run public participation process. My name is Helen Dodge. I'm resident here in the Ugu district, and I am not happy with this bill. I would reject this bill on two main grounds. The first is the environmental grounds, which have been mentioned by some of the other people submitting. In particular, what affects us directly here on the coast is the offshore exploration and mining. Are you translating? Okay. Okay, so At every step of the process in the offshore exploration, when we start with the seismic surveys, we have a huge impact on our marine life. And then when we have drilling, that's also a direct environmental impact. And of course, the possibility of spills and other polluting events is very real. The main way that this affects us is on a direct level for local communities, many of whom depend largely on subsistent fishing or fishing for small commercial purposes. We have small-scale fishers. We also have traditional and cultural and religious events that happen in the ocean, and all of this also feeds directly into tourism. The South Coast, in particular the Ugu district, has tourism as its prime economic driver. We're dependent on local and international tourists, and for example, in December of 2022, thanks to the fact that we had clean beaches in our district, we received 2.4 billion rand of revenue was reported by South Coast Tourism. So this is a substantial amount of income and job generation. All of our holiday resorts, restaurants, B&Bs, hotels, lifesavers, sea rescue, all of these come from our local community and directly employ local people in our community. And of course, those are mostly black people. So there are direct benefits through tourism on our entire community. And I believe, also in agreement with a few of the previous speakers, is that many of our state-run entities are not demonstrating the best track record when it comes to management and mitigation. So we stand at the South Coast, we stand a risk of losing our entire tourism industry if we have only one oil spill. That's all it would take for that entire industry to collapse for quite a long time. So for that reason, I do not believe that what is proposed would be truly beneficial to our residents on any level, including economic. The money would be going to a few shareholders of multinational companies and foreign companies and the government entity. And I do not believe that that would trickle down to the people on the ground. At the beginning, we were told that we could submit proposals for solutions. What I would like to call for is a concerted effort, especially from our provincial government as well as our local government, to put out calls for desalination in our area. We have water problems, as you're well aware. There are a lot of water shortages and a continually growing population. And I have seen in documentation from top government level that desalination is strongly considered as a solution to water shortages. What a lot of people might not be aware of is that desalination can also produce hydrogen, which is a major and emerging source of fuel. Green hydrogen in particular is a way of looking after the climate while providing electricity and fuel and providing many, many jobs at a local level on the ground without jeopardizing tourism, without jeopardizing local, cultural, and economic and subsistence activities. Thank you very much.
The next speaker can approach the mic. May I just rectify for the purpose of us in the public meeting and to and fro movement with our interpreter. There was general consensus as we started in terms of the interpretation, English versus the indigenous languages. But it won't do any harm if, for purposes of progress, because I've been made aware of a number of members who are within the community public meeting for purposes of interpretation. So I would suggest or make it an order now that I've given the small powers for you to also interpret from English to isiZulu so that it won't make any harm if we interpret from across. Thanks very much.
Yes, sesizostolika ke nesingisi sisise ezulwini ubesho njalo isihlalo.
Thank you very much. No, thank you very much. Greetings. Angeke ngikhulume ngesizulu. Sanibona. Ngibingelela abahleli ngaphambili.
Greetings to honorable members up front.
Engingafisa nje ukuqala ngikusho, I would like to say long live to President Vladimir Putin. We stand with Russia and we support what he is doing in Ukraine.
Sithi makame njalo umengameli wase Russia, makame njalo uPutin sime naye kulokho akwenza eUkraine.
Thank you. Kusho ukuthi ke ngizwa kahle ukuhlongozwa kwalomthetho omelene nezimbiwa noma nooyela ekuthi mekuvela ukuthi uhulumeni uhlongoza ukuba nenkampani ezophatha uhulumeni ekuyinto enhleke leyo ngenxa ukuthi mengabe sikhumbula ngokumlando waseSouth Africa kubalekile ukuthi sibuyele emlandweni mesikhumbula kahle abantu abamnyama sebecindezeleke kakhulu kwathi mengabe uhulumeni wentando yeningi ungena awuzange uyirectify le nkinga yokucindezeleka kwabantu abamnyama.
I hear propositions on the table. I also see that government is proposing a state or a state-owned entity, and I would say that should be the right direction because as black people were oppressed a great deal, and when we took over the democratic rule, we did not address most of the past mistakes.
Kuze kubi namhlanje onqiwa nkulu noma bamhlophe laba abathi ba rejecta ukuthi kube khona i state owned entity ezo dealer with ama issues akwi petroleum kuba ukuthi kwakudala kade ba benefita through lama resources mineral resources kuzo includewa ke njengamanje even the introduction of this petroleum ngizomunye baba ekhuluma ngamabhillion ekuyiqiniso ukuthi kuze kube manje abantu abazoqhubeka ba benefit economically abantu abamhlophe. That's why ngizwa ukuthi ke even those who are suggesting ukuthi the number of 10% ukuthi kuzofakwa abantu abamnyama bazoparticipate in this particular petroleum industry with 10% of which there is a suggestion ukuthi it's but mesingakhuluma iqiniso nalo 30% awumanga ngendlela mesibheka umlando wase South Africa. So okay.
No wonder white monopoly rejects this proposed bill because they've benefited from the system for the longest time ever. And you even look at the 10% suggestion proposition for black participation, even that too is not fair enough.
Okay, so even lo 30% ekade uhlongozwa njengamanje ngeze just a suggestion but ngokubona kwami kubalekile ukuthi mengabe sibheka umlando wethu wokuthi thina njengabantu abamnyama sebe excluded kakhulu ngizwe ngento yasesimangaliso ukuthi abantu abamhlophe bavimba abantu abamnyama ukuthi bakwazi ukuparticipate kule industry. So I'm suggesting ukuthi ke njengoba ku 10% wabantu abamnyama ekuthiwa maba participate 20% of black people who should be given a chance to participate in this particular industry. Then laba sebe participate noma sebe benefit for over 100 years during the times of colonialism, even during apartheid, even uhulumeni wentando yeningi awuzange uyi-address leyo nto ukuthi izimo zomnotho masibuyele kubantu abamnyama. So it becomes then important ukuthi 90% of black people should participate in this particular petroleum industry.
Well, he said it in Zulu and in English, we heard it.
All right, sir. so nje ngizosheshisa ngoba ngiyabona sengithatha isikhathi eside. Then lokuhlongozwa kwe-state-owned state-owned petroleum company
The proposition for a state-owned petroleum company